Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Tuesday. And first and foremost, as always, want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. I hope that you have a great day and a wonderful week. Now, with all that being said, we do know that the Los Angeles Lakers were in action on last night in Cleveland, Ohio, with a return home for LeBron James, which turned out to be a great homecoming for him in a lot of different ways, but most importantly, in notching a W in that win column, because as we all know, that is the most important thing to not only him, but to the Lakers franchise team, organizations, players, staff, and everybody, all the fans that's cheering them on. So we know a lot of haters out there were so happy that the Lakers had slipped into the 10th spot when New Orleans won the other day, but as we saw, New Orleans was on the second night of a back-to-back on yesterday and did lose to Charlotte, and the Lakers won. So one thing about the Lakers is they haven't been able to string together consecutive victories for quite some time. As a matter of fact, they are the only team in the NBA since around January the 7th, I do believe, that has not won consecutive games. And after the victory on the road at Toronto, which was such a great victory, you would think that they was going to go and take care of the Washington Wizards and then have a good shot at Cleveland on yesterday to win, which I thought they would, and they did, which we're going to get into all of that in just a minute. But that would have been a great 3-game win streak, but it just was not to be. So now the Lakers went on this East Coast string. Now they got to go back home to LA, and then the East Coast team will be coming out to them, and it will be a very formidable opponent in Philadelphia 76ers, who of course have now James Harden and plan on trying to make some noise in the playoffs. And of course that will be a very interesting game, because we all know LeBron James is the leading for the scoring title this year in the NBA, barely edging out Joel Embiid. I think Joel is at like 29.9, and LeBron, after performance last night, put him right at 30, putting him in first place. So it's LeBron, then Joel, then Giannis, and then of course KD has not played enough games to qualify, or he would be right there as far as being that scoring title as well, which is basically based on the highest scoring average and not the total. Of course, that was all changed, we know, back in the 80s. But nonetheless, that's going to be an important game. But not to get off subject, I did want to mention that why was nobody saying Kevin Durant was stat padding last night when he was trying to get to those 40 points when they were winning by like 20 points with 4 minutes left? Was that stat pad, or does that only apply to LeBron James? I'm trying to figure that out. Was he risking injury out there playing when the game was well in hand with the victory over Utah last night, which, by the way, was a great victory? And we want to congratulate Kevin Durant for moving past the great Jerry West. And I want y'all to check out my countdown of where I had Jerry West and Kevin Durant. And I didn't hate on Kevin Durant, and y'all saw where I ranked him in my top 35 players. So at the end of the day, congratulations to him. He's only a few points behind Reggie Miller. I think he probably can pass Reggie Miller maybe this season. Just depends on how much he scores, how many games he plays. But at the end of the day, as it sits, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets will probably more than likely be in the play-in tournament. So for everybody who just love to hate, you know, on the teams, if you think about it, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, they've been at the top of the league for a mighty long time. It's probably the best 2 players in the league, and I would love for both of them to go on a hell of a run in the East and in the West and meet in the finals and just blow everybody's mind and say, you know what, nobody thought the Lakers had a chance to get here. A lot of people don't think Brooklyn got a chance to get there, but I honestly think that they are my favorites to still win the East when you got a healthy Kyrie and a Kevin Durant. That you saw Kyrie, he can get the cooking, and so you already know what Kevin Durant can do. You already know what Kevin Durant can do. But enough talk about that. Sorry, I had to just go on that little tangent. But back to the game on last night. LeBron James, I'm telling you, it's like he's playing like all world right now. And I know, you know, he doesn't give you everything you want on the defensive end of the floor, but even last night and the past couple of nights, he's been doing a lot of scrambling on defense and having a lot of extra energy. And some of the dimes he was dropping on yesterday, I mean, we all know what he's capable of doing, but in transition, like in transition, if you run, LeBron is going to find you. And these passes are not easy passes, because oftentimes you'll see other players attempt to make similar passes and have a turnover. And maybe that's why LeBron had so many turnovers, because he believes in his ability to be able to fit the ball in tight spaces and be able to make great passes, which he made one to Stanley Johnson last night that was on point. And he knows how to suck the defense in and make the right pass. But not only that, his scoring prowess on yesterday was damn good. And I know he was trying to get to 40 last night at Cleveland, and he knows that he's up for the scoring title. And you could tell by the end of the game when he know he got fouled on the way to the hole and the ref didn't give him a call. The game was well in hand, and then after that they went ahead and sat him, which, you know, he did play 40 minutes last night. I wouldn't call it stat pattern, because, you know, that game was still within reach, I would say, in the last few minutes, because 8 or 9 point lead is not safe in the NBA. But at the end of the day, he didn't get that call to go to the line, which he was perfect from the line last night. And everybody was perfect for the line for the Lakers yesterday, except for Russell Westbrook. Westbrook missed 3 free throws, but that was the only 3 free throws that was missed by LA. They was 13 out of 16, so their free throw shooting has improved lately. And one thing I do want to point out, this is something I definitely want to point out, is Carmelo didn't get a lot of minutes and THT didn't play. Didn't that happen in Toronto? And what happened? A victory. A victory. Then you bring Carmelo a lot of minutes and you bring back THT in Washington, and what happens? A loss. And it's not solely on them, but remember I said get down to that rotation. When they get down to that rotation, I would like to have THT get very limited minutes, if any. And same for Carmelo Anthony. I like the rotation of what it is. I love the way Wayne and Gabriel is playing. I know he did start LeBron at the 4 last night instead of the 3, and put Wayne in the 3 just so they could kind of have length in that small forward position to play the wing. And then, of course, Dwight Howard got to start. And one thing I will say, they did not start off very well. And for once in his smooth-brained, jug, cantaloupe, biscuit head ass life, Coach Frank Vogel actually made an adjustment and limited Dwight Howard to only 11 minutes in the game. And as you can see, when he limited Dwight Howard minutes, what happened? And now that you have a Wayne and Gabriel, once Anthony Davis gets back, you can solidify the rotation to where you can play excellent ball without even, because you could basically have AD at the 5, Gabriel at the 4, LeBron at the 3, and then Austin Reeves at the 2, and Westbrook at the 1. And then what does that do for you? That gives you defense from Anthony Davis. It gives you defense from Wayne and Gabriel. You got 2 rim protectors that allows LeBron to play his natural position and be a great wing and get other people involved. You have Austin Reeves, who is getting better and more consistent. Like I said, when you give players know their role and give them minutes consistently, then they can play well. So that gives Austin Reeves a chance to be able to develop and continue to grow confidence in his game. And then you have a great defender in Austin Reeves, Wayne and Gabriel, Anthony Davis, LeBron at spots, and Westbrook has improved, even though it's been times where he pisses me off because he does not close out on 3-point shooters. He just stands there and looks at him like, oh, that's going to make a miss. Like, I know you're going to run. Man, just go ahead and run out at him. Get a hand in the face, get a hand up or something. But the Lakers have been doing a lot of switching. That's the philosophy that Frank has stuck to. It actually worked well for them last night, the switches, because Wayne and Gabriel is capable of defending all these positions and switching, and so is LeBron. So I think that is a good starting 5 once Anthony Davis comes back. And even if you don't want to have Wayne and Gabriel in there, you want to, let's say, have Malik Monk and Austin Reeves in there, then you can do that as well. But I would say keep Wayne in. You can still sort of stagger the minutes, especially if he doesn't get a lot of foul calls, which he's been prone to do. But you could also have Malik Monk coming off the bench, who can give you good points. And then not only that, you can have Melo come in limited opportunity, and he can give you points off the bench as well. So, you know, I think the Lakers can definitely make a move. I think they still have a puncher's chance at making some noise in the playoffs, because if they, you know, continue to hold down that 9th spot, I would pick them to beat New Orleans. And between them and Minnesota or the Clippers, with everything on the line, I'm not going to go against LeBron James. So who knows? You know, they'll face Phoenix in that first round, and there's been a lot of noise between the two. and I think it'll be a great series. But one thing, Phoenix is not going to back down, and they have all the confidence in the world against the Lakers, as they should. So that would definitely be a good game, but I don't want to look too far ahead because the Lakers still have a lot of work to do. And of course, the Clippers have been sliding. And like I said, the Clippers lost 3 in a row, and it doesn't get any easier for them. They got Utah, they got Denver, they got Chicago, I believe. So they got some more tough games coming up. I mean, if the Lakers wouldn't have blew the game against Washington, lo and behold, they would be only 2.5 back of that spot. And why does that make a difference? The 8 instead of the 9? Because in the 8 seeds, you only got to win 1 game instead of 2 to get into the play-in. And if you win that, and if you win your game, it's potentially a chance that you could be the 7 seed, depending on how everything plays out. So if you get the 7 seed, you could be looking at either Memphis or Golden State, which I think the Lakers are capable of beating either one, even though Memphis has been playing great, and Ja Morant is great, and Aaron Bain is great, and then you got Dylan Brooks coming back, who is a great defender. But sometimes you got to take experience in the playoffs, and usually that's what happens. The younger teams, you know, it takes them a while to be able to build up the confidence and be able to win. But the Grizzlies are coached great. But like I said, in a series, I always got to take a healthy LeBron James and a healthy Anthony Davis, because we all know what they're capable of doing. They had one run in the playoffs where they won the championship. The next year, Anthony Davis got hurt, so you can't. I mean, they was up 2-1 against the Western Conference champion before Anthony Davis went down, and then of course the series changed. So who knows how that would have went. So at the end of the day, you know, I wouldn't count the Lakers out just yet. I know everybody want them to be dead in the water. All the haters love when they lose. They love when LeBron get dunked on by Pelinka, but when he turn around and posterize Kevin Love, they real quiet and say, oh, it's nothing. And then dumbass people will say, oh, well, Kevin Love, LeBron talking about himself, hyping himself up. He was asked a question. If somebody asks you a question and you answer it, how's that talking yourself up? He didn't just go out and say, oh, I dunked on Kevin Love like it was some kind of major accomplishment. But anyway, I do want to point out the fact that Russell Westbrook played great last night as well. Russell Westbrook, you know, he limited himself. He only had 3 turnovers, I believe. Altogether, the Lakers only had 8 turnovers. Of course, we know LeBron did his thing, 38, 11, and 12. The big triple dub with 38 points, and did it quite effectively at 58% shooting. And then you got to give shouts out to Russell Westbrook. He was only 2 from 6 from three-point land last night, but he hasn't been afraid to shoot the 3, and he's bringing back his confidence level. He's never been a great three-point shooter. He's always been around 30, 31%. But if he can at least be somewhat respected from out there, and if they're going to give it to him wide open, let him take it. And, you know, when he makes it, that's good. But, you know, just don't take too many of them. I think 6 was a lot last night. If you got it going, then go ahead. LeBron James had 38 points and didn't make 1 3. And, you know, normally, typically, he's been making a lot of threes, but he only attempted 4 threes last night. So that shows you he was definitely trying to get points last night and taking more higher percentage shots at the rim, and some nice fadeaways that he hit that simply electrified the crowd. And like I said, man, you cannot say enough about LeBron James and his ability at this age of what he's doing. It's something that I've never seen before. Any athlete, I don't care if it was Kobe, if it was MJ, you could tell the difference. You could really tell the difference. And Michael Jordan was a phenomenal player, but you could definitely tell the difference. And he was playing at a high level. You got to realize Michael Jordan, I think, was 36 or 37 when he won his last championship. So it's not like beyond the realms of possibility, because then he retired and came back at 40. So he might have been 35, maybe 36, I think he was, when he won that last championship. So, you know, LeBron James is a great player, just as Michael Jordan, and I think he could do the same thing. But what makes LeBron even better is because how he takes care of his body. And that's something Michael Jordan didn't do a lot. He smoked a lot of cigars and drank a lot of liquor. And I ain't gonna say, but he did some other things too, you understand? But I won't say that. But you know, that could take some longevity off of your career. You understand, when you do some of the activities that Michael Jordan indulged in. You understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, the Lakers played great last night. They're gonna be taking on Philly on ESPN Wednesday in the confines of the Staples Center. I think what has happened is these younger players have built up some confidence. Stanley Johnson, let me mention Stanley Johnson played great last night. Like the Lakers had 6 players in double figures last night, and it could have been 7. Wayne and Gabriel had 9, if I'm not mistaken. He could have had 10. But you had quite a few players that was in double figures last night. LeBron was in double figures. Westbrook was in double figures. Oh, I failed to mention DJ Augustine, who hit 6 3-pointers, I think all in the first half. He was in double figures. He gave you exactly what you needed, and then is a perfect floor general by dishing it out in the second half and giving what was needed, when was needed. And the emergence of him and picking up him and Wayne and Gabriel, I think, is going to be key for the Lakers, and it were great moves because DJ Augustine is a tenured point guard who has been to a lot of teams in this league and is well respected. And you're not just going to leave him open for three. He's not THT. You understand what I'm saying? He's not THT. He's not Wayne Ellington, who used to could shoot, but I don't know what happened to him. But because of the emergence of a DJ Augustine and a Wayne and Gabriel, the Lakers no longer have to use players like Bazemore and Wayne Ellington. That was not effective. And once Anthony Davis get back, then you won't have to see Dwight Howard anymore either. So I'm telling you what, I'm liking how Wayne and Gabriel is playing. He cuts a lot. I want to mention that. Like, there used to be so much standing around, but last night the Lakers' assist was 35, I think. 30-something assists, which is good for them. And if they get a lot of assists, they're going to win games because the ball is moving. And when the ball is moving, they're taking a lot of good open shots. So that's only going to be a confidence for these younger players. But Malik Monk, he was in double figures. And what I noticed from him, I think he was 0 for 5 from 3. And the 3 shot wasn't falling for him, but he found ways to cut and get to the rim. And that's what the Lakers kept doing. They kept cutting. Nobody standing still. And when all the eyes came on LeBron James to the double and triple team, he finding Gabriel on the cut for the dunk. He finding Malik Monk on the cut for the dunk. Austin Reeves finding LeBron on the cut. A lot of people are now cutting and moving and not just standing still and playing well without the ball. And when the Lakers can do that, they are going to be a dangerous team. Do you understand me? And Melo only played 13 minutes last night. I like that. Melo needs 10 to 12 minutes a game. If he can come in and get his 3-point shots, and if he know that's the only time he got, then he can go out there and maximize it. If you go out there and do better, then you might earn minutes for that particular game. That's just how it goes. You're not the player you once was. You and LeBron might be in the same draft class, but LeBron is in another class by himself, you know. But like I said, Stanley Johnson played great defense. Even when the game got close, he made the great steal, take it down court for the score. He hit another open 3, so he's not afraid to take the open shot. I think the Lakers are out of the mentality of how they were playing scared, because they were playing scared and they were playing like losers with no confidence. And I think what they did now was realize they got a chance to do something special, a chance to do something that's never been done, because they could potentially end the season below 500 and still go to a damn championship. And before y'all start all that trash, let's not forget MJ. Everybody want to say LeBron didn't go to the finals, didn't go to the playoffs his first 2 years, and Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan record, they only won 35 or 36 games, if I'm not mistaken, those 2 years early on when he got swept out the playoffs in the first round. So keep that in mind. It was well below 500. It is what it is. The Lakers had a lot of injuries this year. Frank Vogel is not the best of coaches. And, of course, COVID had a lot of people out too. So at the end of the day, the Lakers going to continue to do what they got to do to improve on being a better team and actually somehow being a threat to do something in this playoff run, you know. But at the end of the day, Frank Vogel actually did some decent coaching last night by limiting the minutes of Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony. Oh, this little puppy about to get ran over, y'all. Oh, man, he almost got hit twice. Get on back up there, boy. Girl, whatever he is, you safe now? Oh, man, your owners, that would have been a sad case. But anyway, man, right on to the real. Much love to these haters. I got work to do. I'm about. Peace.